Hi friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today is Tuesday, so it's Twisted Tuesday, which means story time, where I tell or share a story that's been on my mind about paranormal, true crime stories, or just dark, mysterious, kind of interesting stuff. So today we will journey into the tragic, chilling story of a woman who seemed to have it all together. She was Taylor Wright, a police officer turned private investigator. She had her whole future ahead of her. She had strength, determination, and courage, but what she didn't see coming was that a darkness and betrayal hid behind a face that she really trusted. Someone that she trusted so much, she trusted even with her money. This story isn't just about murder. It's about the shocking betrayal so cruel that it shook everyone who knew her. Taylor trusted a close friend to hold on to something very important. And that trust would be used against her in the most horrible, imaginable way possible. But before we begin, please consider subscribing to the channel, give the video a like, and leave a comment. I want to hear from you guys. And before we start, I would like to say viewer discretion is advised. There's graphic and disturbing material in today's story. All right, let's get into it. Taylor Wright was born April 27, 1984 in North Carolina. And from a very young age, everyone said that Taylor was fiercely independent, well-loved, and liked by everyone who knew her. She had a ton of friends and seemed to have a very bright future ahead of her. She became a police officer in Jacksonville, North Carolina, before transitioning into the private investigation world and became a private investigator after leaving law enforcement. Friends and co-workers say that Taylor was fearless, intelligent, and she was going to succeed no matter what she did or what career path she went down. She was also a mother, first and foremost, which her young son that she had was her world, and she wanted to give him the best possible life that she could. I mean, anyone can understand that. So her life wasn't always easy, though. She married young and had a son, and after a lot of marital issues, she filed for divorce. There were custody battles, financial disputes, and just a lot of emotional trauma that weighed really heavy on Taylor. In early 2017, Taylor moved to Pensacola, Florida, where she would have a fresh start. And for a while, everything seemed to be looking up. She was happy. She started dating a woman named Cassandra Waller, and her son was happy. So she just was looking forward to the future again. For not quite some time, she kind of wasn't. She started meeting friends, and things started to be improving. But to protect a large sum of money, nearly $100,000 from a joint account she had with her husband, Taylor feared might be taken during the divorce. She gave it to someone she trusted, Ashley MacArthur. They were nearly inseparable friends at this time. Ashley MacArthur was a former crime scene detective and technician, and she was well known, and her family was well known in Pensacola. She was charming, confident, and had deep local connections. She and Taylor became friends through social scenes and seemed to hit it off pretty quickly. They became really close friends. So when Taylor withdrew $100,000 from her account that she shared with her husband and needed to hide it until after the divorce, she thought she could trust her good friend Ashley to hide this money for her. It was going to be money for her to start over with her son and Cassandra. So she needed this money to be hidden. Taylor also gave Ashley a $34,000 cashier's check to hold temporarily. She believed Ashley would keep it safe until after the divorce. But what Taylor did not realize was that Ashley had quite the checkered past. Come to find out, Ashley had already been involved with financial dealings, and she was under quiet scrutiny from other people in the community. And Ashley also had other plans for the money. Financially troubled and desperate, she started moving money around and depositing Taylor's money into her own checking accounts and spending it very quickly. What a great friend, jeez. Meanwhile, Taylor had started pressuring Ashley to start returning the money to her. She wanted to move into a new home with Cassandra and her son and needed the money for the transition. On September 8, 2017, Taylor left her apartment, texting Cassandra that she was going to go meet Ashley to get this money back. That morning, she and Ashley were seen on surveillance footage showing them getting gas, and after that, Ashley claimed they went to her family's farm to ride horses. But later that afternoon, Cassandra began to get really worried because she hadn't heard from Taylor. Taylor wasn't responding to texts or calls. This was unusual and not like Taylor. Then a strange message came from her phone to Cassandra saying, "I need time to think. I'm fine. I just need a few days." But Cassandra knew in her gut, she just knew that something wasn't right with the text. It didn't sound like Taylor. It was too formal and too detached. So the next morning, when Taylor did not come home, she would contact the police and report Taylor officially missing. Detectives began their investigation by interviewing friends and loved ones of Taylor's. At first, their primary suspect was Taylor's husband. Usually, that's the first place police look, is the closest person to the disappeared person, and the husband is always the first one that they look at. But he was cleared soon. They were going through this bitter custody battle and divorce, but soon all eyes pointed to Ashley. And Ashley told detectives that Taylor had taken an Uber from her house. But when they checked, no Uber had ever been requested. And later that day, she would change her story and say that Taylor simply walked off with a couple backpacks. But cell phone data would show that Taylor's phone stayed at Ashley's property for hours, even after Ashley claimed that Taylor had left. Suspicion quickly fell on Ashley. Detectives dug deeper into her financials, her movements, and her digital cell phone trail. Ashley had been caught on surveillance footage purchasing potting soil, concrete, and bleach days before Taylor's disappearance. Bank records showed she had withdrawn Taylor's money and used it to pay off her own debts. Wow. A friend later came forward saying that Ashley had joked about actually committing a murder, saying she was a crime scene technician. Who better to get away with it? This is a horrible story, and just another reminder that you really have to be super careful who you trust, and to always trust your gut. Because Ashley was brought in for questioning a few times, and her story kept changing. At first, it was the Uber, and then she said Taylor just stormed off. She even accused her at one point of being a drug user, and that she had been trying to get Taylor to stop using these drugs. So I think that she kind of just said this to the detectives to add some kind of shady background to Taylor's past, and maybe they would go down that road instead of looking at Ashley as a suspect. But the evidence was too strong. Cell phone data, her financial trail, they told a very different story. The detectives were already suspicious, but they now had the evidence they needed to arrest Ashley with Taylor's disappearance. So on October 19, 2017, the detectives brought Ashley to the police station for a final interrogation, a third and final interrogation. And they confronted her with the newly found and mounting evidence. They read Ashley her rights at this time. And they also informed her that they had a search team and warrants already at her farm and her house, and they were going to be searching it. Hours into the search team unearthed a human skull and other remains from a body in a shallow grave on the MacArthur's farm. The body was concealed with the concrete and the potting soil, the very same things that Ashley had been seen on surveillance footage buying days before. So, dental records would confirm what everyone feared the most. It was indeed Taylor Wright's body. She had been shot once in the back of the head, still wearing her bullet necklace that she never took off. Ashley MacArthur was arrested for first-degree murder, and the community was in shock. A trusted friend, a former technician for their own police department, a cold-blooded killer now. How could someone be so self-absorbent and greedy and would take a mother from her son and her own friend's life? Friends later said that Taylor probably would have loaned the money to Ashley if she had been honest about her financial troubles. So Ashley's trial began in 2019. Prosecutors laid out a detailed case showing motive, opportunity, and method. How she did the crime, everything. But the defense argued there was no physical evidence tying Ashley to the crime, but the circumstantial case was just overwhelming. The jury deliberated for only a few hours before returning a verdict. Guilty of first-degree murder, premeditated murder, and sentenced to life in prison. She will not be eligible for parole until 2042. Taylor Wright was a brave, dedicated woman who tried to protect herself and her son. But that mistake that she made by trusting someone cost her everything. This story is a painful reminder to trust your instincts and your judgment, stay vigilant, and always trust your gut. Rest in peace, Taylor. So sad. This is a horrible story. But if you found this story compelling, please leave a like for the video, subscribe, and consider leaving me a comment. I want to hear from you guys. So stay safe, stay aware, and always trust your gut. And I've got a lot of stories that I'm working on for Twisted Tuesday story time. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.